listening, is the Bay Area Poets Coalition, and there are several members in good standing. Actually, they're good sitting right now. Sorry about that. Anyway, so John Rowe, the longtime president of that organization, is also here, and he's going to introduce each of the individual poets as they come up. Now, how long, it's been like since 75 or 72, something like that, for the
organization?
Yeah.
74.
1974. So it has been around a long time, doing readings, having competitions, contests, networking, helping people publish, lots and lots of things this organization does over the decades, I can say that. Anyway, so I'm going to cease, let John come up here. He's going to introduce the group and do a couple of his own, right, poems. And then we'll take care of, have the others come up here to astounding applause. And after that, we'll take a break. So give John a nice, wonderful, warm round of applause. Read and then introduce. This is John Rowe, by the way.
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Thanks a lot for having us. Dan, appreciate it. And Dan is actually a member of the APC, and I think what's great about the community is a number of the poets that are going to read tonight are regulars here at Sacred Ground. So the loyalty to the community is strong. So we appreciate that. Again, the organization started in 1974, actually in San Francisco, and moved over to the Bay, to Berkeley or East Bay in the mid-70s. And we have an ongoing open reading the first Saturday of the month, 3 to 5 p.m. at Strawberry Creek Lodge, senior housing building, and I can give you more information about that. But we do special events. We have an annual Live Oak Park picnic on Labor Day. We're trying to get back into the San Francisco Library for a special event, which we do periodically, so we'll keep you informed on that. We have our annual contest, which we have flyers for, open through entries to November 15th, cash prizes, and we have our Poet Talk Journal. We're working on the 2018 edition. We have back issues. I'd be happy if you took a copy, and if you want to make a donation, great, for the nonprofit. If not, if you're new to Poet Talk, take a look. We have poets throughout the country and overseas and elsewhere included in a variety of styles. So those are some of the things we do. And I guess I will go ahead and share a few short things of my own before I introduce our star readers for the evening. First of all, I wanted to do a poem for the full moon.
Yeah.
Very short.
The moon.
The moon.
Full moon. Lunatic. Poetic. Luna makes poet tick. Breaking. Breaking waves, breaking plans. Once again, the heart. Breaking news, breaking bread. Once again, the day. Breaking the silence, breaking point. Breaking down, breaking up, breaking apart. Breaking together. Chasing my tail. I seem to be chasing my tail even though I don't have a tail. I do have a tale to tell, which I will tell later after I finish chasing my tail. The one I don't have, or maybe it's simply invisible because the scene really can't be seen. If there are any questions, don't ask me for answers. I question reality every day, and I'm still waiting for an answer. Here's one for Sacred Grounds. Autocorrect, go ahead. Turn scared into sacred. I dare you. I believe in you. Up his sleeves. Do you believe that magician has nothing up his sleeves? Hard to believe. In fact, I find it easier to believe that the magician has everything up his sleeves. In fact, he does. Everything, including his arms. Sorry, I didn't mean to give it all away, so that secrets are no longer secrets, and tricks turn into something else. I think I will leave it at that for my little set. And who's first on the list, Dan?
Well, we didn't put them in order, but we have Stephanie, Clyde, Britt, and Garrett, but that wasn't, we didn't agree on that order. I just make sure I had all the names.
All right.
That's the order we go.
Well, why don't we just go with that order?
All right, that's fine by
Because
me.
it's, out of order, in order.
Out of order.
So we'll hear first from Stephanie, who I know is a long-time Sacred Grounds attendee, and she's been very supportive to the Bay Area Poets Coalition. So I'd love to hear from Stephanie Manning.
Isn't that great, those poems by John Rowe? He's one of my favorite poets. So here's a letter to my son. I will see you come in through the door. I will not recognize you, my son, my beloved son. It will fill me with fear, for each day everything will be new to me. Such a scary time, that end of life coming. I would rather die than forget you, my son. But when I do not lose heart. Everything I have taught you is still inside you. Just introduce yourself to me one more time, each day. I will be so ashamed of leaving you. It is not my choice. I may appear to be my old self, but really the day will come when I am one of those transformed by virtue of plaque adhered to the brain like glue, which will enable me to forget all the decades of my life and people that I've known. Each day will be a new scary adventure, or I should say confrontation. Until that time, just this side of the final departure, when without a memory I will face what comes at me, will face who comes at me, till forgetting to breathe, to eat, to see, to know, I will follow the traditions of the ancestors and shut it down altogether, hoping to hear as the last sound the peeping of birds at dusk in my frozen bed, the lights dimming until I am no longer cold.
Wow.
And then this is a poem, this is a 3-minute poem. I write poetry on the train, and so I only had 3 minutes till the station, so this is called The Election Coming. Where is Captain Kirk, Spock, Mr. Sulu, Uhura, Chekhov, Dr. McCoy, and Scotty when we need them? We are waiting for a rescue here on the Earthship, whose orbit is dying and its habitat disintegrating. Come soon, you are our only hope. Hope is my neighbor. Hope goes away and I feed her kitty, who is black and named Haley after Haley's comet. Haley and I are friends. Hope returns. Kitty is happy. Hope goes away and I take care of Haley. Hope comes back. Hope always comes back. Someday hope will move away forever and leave us with despair and no Haley. Life will become grim. Life is grim. Just thinking about it, I think I will stop and not grieve hope's departure twice. Life, already grim, needs solutions, and in November, I will vote for hope to stay. She is our only hope. And Haley's comet, now that's a good one. last one, and this is a homage to Sacred Grounds. I noticed a lot of people have made homages to Sacred Grounds, and this is mine. When I get there, the cafe is empty like my stomach, but quickly fills with delicious food prepared and assembled by Chef Teddy, who keeps the place running. Sacred Grounds, or Grounds as Steve Mackin used to say, that guy up there on the left, persists through the decades of many different owners, during the school year and the dry days of summer. We poets, lucky to have this space during literary times up to 2013, when so many old poets died, and on into the mystery days of unknown quantities coming through that door, with more chips on shoulders and unaddressed rage than the previous literary days. It is hard to know just how long this will continue once the older guys and gals are gone. Big money is tickling at the elbows of every neighborhood in San Francisco. What will happen to City Lights, to Sacred Grounds, to Cafe Trieste, to La Promenade? New ways will be found. Ask the Ouija board in your handheld devices. Remedies of art and nature and performance may evolve into something unrecognizable by us old poets. How can we sneak some poetry into the future beyond our lives? Some Aristophanes, Shakespeare, Yeats, Dylan Thomas, and Langston Hughes. Into their diet of online chatter. We better hire a Russian hacker to implant the idea of poetry and poetry readings onto the social media and into computer games. Poetry is, after all, worth fighting for.
Thank you, Stephanie. That was beautiful. Yeah. I'm going to be thinking about that, how we can sneak poetry into the future beyond our lives. That's great. I did want to say, we did have one other reader that was scheduled, Denise Collette from Alameda. She's actually never been to Sacred Grounds. Fortunately, she got hit with a cold and wasn't quite up for it, so hopefully I'll bring her back another time. All right. Dan Brady, who do we have next
Oh, we
there?
have Mr. Clyde Ollie.
Okay.
He's called that because his name is Clyde.
Well, you all know Clyde always.
Come on.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, come on, come on, step right up close. One of the rat goes up off front row, sit before the gauntlet, they're going fast. Hell, you won't miss this. Now it's time for another exciting installment of the Clyde Always Show with me, your always clever, always handsome, always charming host, Clyde Always. And no, I ain't no common carnival barker. I am the Bard of Overhate. Thank you. And this is an address to a cheeseburger. Oh, steaming puck of juicy meat, whose waft and scent itself a treat, in winter's chill or summer's heat, we dainty daughters, ragged sons, burly dudes and chicks petite do long to squeeze your spongy buns. What rugged rancher bred this steer? What rabbi blessed this pickle spear? What garden grew such lettuce clear? What baker raised your crown of gloss? What milkmaid made your cheddar cheer? What wizard whisked your special sauce? Stacked tall you are and standing there like Sears Tower in the air. Takes all my teeth your frame to tear. And scoff we now at Johnstown flood is from your heart so rich and rare. Explodes a spurt of greasy blood. Let Englishmen eat mushy peas. Give sushi to the Japanese. Let Frenchies gnaw on froggy knees. Let Saudis keep halal all day. Let pygmies munch termites and bees. let all the vegans waste away. We crumple now in beefy blisses. Forks and knives we just dismiss. Our dripping fists we lick and kiss. May all else deem us savage, crude. Americans agree on this. You, burger, are the perfect food. Thank you. Now, for the past 6 years or so, my friends and fans have been forever asking me, who is this Clyde always? Where did he come from and what's he doing here? They want to know, what's your story, Clyde? Well, after much deliberation, I have decided to reveal all and to hold nothing else back in this, an 8-part autobiographical account which I've entitled The Clyde Always Saga. This is part 3. So back in 1904, yeah, you heard correct, 1904. When I was 18 years old, I just got a shit can from my job at the vaudeville show, and I wound up falling in with one hell of a rough dame, and her name was Birdie Shoemaker, and Birdie was well endowed. And to illustrate my point, allow me to relay the brief anecdote that there was one time Birdie and I, we were walking across a crowded carnival ground, packed shoulder to shoulder, when all of a sudden, as a spectacle, 2 plump and pointy, low-flying zeppelins passed right overhead, and nobody even looked up. But look, Birdie was crooked to say the least. In fact, as soon as she realized my talent for orating, she knocked me out with a rolling pin, and when I came to, I was on a snake oil cart in the middle of Kia Cup, and I was wearing a suit of clothes she dug up, stolen them off a dead man. So we pulled the odd confidence job those first few months together, mostly just tricking a bunch of gullible yahoos out of the last few nickels they had left jangling in their pockets, which was all innocent enough, until Birdie got a little greedy. Next thing I knew, we were knocking over a savings and loan, which didn't go all that swell neither, seeing as how during the getaway I wound up taking a barrel full of bird shot straight to the butt cheek. And then, before I had time to heal, before I could even sit down, well, we were pulling bigger jobs. We were heisting trains and burgling jewels and kidnapping the children of millionaires for hefty ransoms. And I know that all sounds pretty goddamn dastardly, and I'll admit it was dastardly, but all I can say in my defense is that it was all Birdie's idea. All of it. And when you're 18, guys, back me up, when you're 18 years old, it's a little hard to formulate a cohesive argument when you're constantly confronted with the sight of gigantic bazooms. Meanwhile, too, Birdie always insisted on handling the loot. She said she was investing it in the stock market and that it ought to be paying out some dividends one of these days. But I sure as hell never saw any goddamn dividends. In fact, the only red cent of that money I ever laid hands on was on one hot day I'll never forget. And Birdie and I, we were laying low in the hideout, and she reaches down into her cleavage and pulls out a sweaty greenback, and she shoves it at me, and she tells me to run on down to town to get her an ice cream cone, to bring it back all lickety-split, or else she's going to give me a slap in the kisser. So I say, yeah, Miss Birdie, man. So I scoot down to town as quick as I can, and you can imagine my surprise when I step out of that general store, and what do I see but the sheriff and the deputy's 5-year-old son, and all 3 of them got 2 fistfuls of 6-shooter pointing right in my face. And oh no, God, I'll never forget it. The deputy's kid, he said, and this is exactly what he said, reach for the sky! Yeah, I dropped those ice cream cones and I reached, you know. And the sheriff, they shackle me and they cuff me. And they lead me down through Main Street, and all the townsfolk come out, they cross their arms like that, and they shake their heads, and they go tisk, tisk, tisk. And the sheriff, he asked me, he says, you is Clyde always, isn't you? And I said, well, to answer your most beautifully articulated question, Mr. Sheriff, sir, in fact, is. He said, well, I'm not sure if you knew this, Mr. Smart Aleck, but there's a bounty on your head, $10,000. Done got collected just this morning by one Miss Birdie Shoemaker. And you know what happens next, don't you, Clyde always? And I said, well, I can guess. And he said, yeah, you guessed right. We taking you down to the gallows, Clyde always. Oh, you going for a little swing today, Clyde always. We gonna hang. And the exciting continuation of the Clyde Always saga will be heard next Wednesday, everybody.
Thank you, Clyde Always. You are everywhere. And I wanted to point out the Clyde Always artwork is on last year's Poet Talk. And he has some poems in here as well. So check it out and get him to autograph a copy for you. All right, so next up we have, from my side of the Bay, East Bay, we have Britt Peter. who's also
Peter.
right here.
That's a good one. Bach and Duende, 1956. We played Bach every day that summer, the failed violinist and the willing youngster. Two bows, the black notes, the smell of rosin. Before I went off to school, a silly boy, wrapped in ivy to study Schumpeter and Glotz. You want a definition of Duende? It rides within three notes, a breath, a sigh, an echo, the slow movement of Bach's double concerto. Bach on a Sunday morning. Not the unrelenting Bach machine, but Adolf Busch's archaic band. Bach sweet as kernels on a cob of corn, leaves on a gilded branch in a Baroque theater. Bach on a Sunday morning, easy to take, with waffles and sour cream. Now instead of Bach light, Bach heavy, and that's not a spring brew. A frantic wind, music, war, YouTube. News brought into the home, away from one more war, told this. The clown and the mad dog at work. John Bolton as Iago. The falling buildings, the lethal engagements. They are fighting like they have never fought before. Only I can do this. I love war. All done in our name, as guilty as any nation. Ask the children under the rocks. Hear the beseeching fathers. See the mothers in rags. See the faces against the fence and in cages. And on YouTube, the emphatic fiddler speaks of Heifetz and the abyss. Ivry Gitless, a hidden Zodic, so old that he says what he wants, gathers the audience's attention. I'll do the Bach. I'll go to the edge. It's in my soul. It's in my contract. The cliffs of Bach's Chaconne, the insistent variations, the harsh chords, the worker's smock, the devil's fiddle, these forces, these craggy landscapes, these moving scenes, a convergence in a worried mind. The listener cannot be still. The interior imposition of war scenes. They are from Abel Gance's J'accuse. The monumental tower, the graves opening up, and we have it there on YouTube scans. The wars have us. The Chaconne has us. Ivry says, I'll finish this. The crab's claw, its sustained hold. The repeated wars, the ghosts are marching again. The sonorous voices of Gans and Bach rise above the staff, flow through the frames, moving. The old films play again. Smoking light from the projection room, all before our eyes, a visual and sonic understanding. Can you feel the ghosts moving through you? The pulling, the many wars, the undertow, the resonant storms, the propelled sound in the Chaconne, the drone of the last note. From stone to gray transparent flesh, war ghosts are passing through the countryside.
Britt Peter. And Garrett.
Thank you, Britt. And now we'd like to hear from our favorite political satirist and human nature satirist, Garrett Murphy.
Garrett Murphy.
Not George Carlin's 7 dirty words. Venus, entitlement, diversity, transgender, vulnerable, evidence-based, science-based.
Yep.
What? No buzz? Where's the beeper? The shock. Anything? Was there not supposed to be some sort of catastrophe? Some earth-shattering cataclysm? But all that can be heard is some faint infinite, feeble-minded hissy fit from a most minuscule gallery which one would not dare offend peanuts by naming it in their honor. Perhaps if they had chosen a few slurs instead. A hat for Melania. Dreadful, she wails, much ado about a pit hat. Ugly, she claims I'm the most bullied one. Nice, though, she knows I'm being granted a new one. Comfort, it fits as though made just for her. Easy to do with first character of each line. The species you wish would become extinct. No, the Apius vulgaris. Knows not what you think it is. It's not the type you find in trees, or with long prehensile tails, and you won't find any fur to cover its body, rather clothing just like yours or mine. And its chant is far worse than any of those in the wild or even at the zoo. And if any of them eat bananas, you can be sure to find appealings all over the wrong places. But the most distinguishing trait of the Apius vulgaris is their utter inability to shoot straight when it comes to trash cans or even their own bathrooms. Which is why, no matter where you go or where you walk, you always have to watch out for, along with the usual feces, the residue of the Apius vulgaris phlegm. Or is it remnants of a leaky brain? Mario Woods has his day. The San Francisco Police Officers Association, in a recent public performance concerning the execution of one Mario Woods, displayed solidarity and unusual petulance even after being given a chance to go first when the supporters of Woods were listening. As soon as POA was done whimpering about how so few of the populace would give them accolades for killing yet another man of color, not to mention a proposed Board of Supervisors bill honoring a day for Mario Woods, SS supposed finest walks off in a huff, but not before threatening the soups with all kinds of damnation. That warning did accomplish one thing, a most pleasant surprise. It united the soups into acting as one, namely to make that day for our Mr. Woods the no-pun law in the land. In a futile attempt to save the performance, the POA whales enough waterworks to empty Hetchetchia about what about the officers who die in the line of duty. Someone neglected to tell the POA leadership that many officers do have various days, overpasses, intercessions, and others named for them for dying in the line of duty. Now it's long overdue for someone to be honored who happened to die in the line of missed duty. And it's just in, infantries and babies, including the crybabies, are considering joining forces to sue the SFPOA for the defaming impersonation of their characters. The sinking tower of rhymes with Crisco. Like present-day imitators of Yodo the Turtle, the city parents and developers did it this time. All they really had to do was to simply build a new transit center, but of course, who do we think we are? Anyone can build a simple transit center, but we're SNF, the city that really knows how. There's nothing going higher than we. We'll build us a transit center capped by a building that'll really help to build us up to the stars. So they build up and build up and build up some more, and behold, that tower was built. A marvel of the ages. But what's that odd sound, that sinking sound? Not quite the perfect sound of a mech, but equally ominous. A gasp roars out, and it's plainly clear that tower has begun to sink like paralysis into the earth. Those developers might have dared to rise to the stars, but it appears they may really sink to the fallen stars. They really should have known that the bill of on sand, soft enough to go through hourglasses, sole source of hubris to city leaders and builders. But you can never keep a big ego down for long. Hey, look on the bright side. At least we done Italy a few better. They just have a leaning tower of Pisa, but we have, ladies and gentlemen, the sinking tower of, oh, well, you know. marathon life. Marathon dance, marathon dance, marathon, marathon, marathon dance. Dance good folks till the end of it. Dance good fools till the end of you. This dance done started before you knew it. Your turns has just been programmed to you. Yes, you're programmed to a cassette mo. Obedient you are to your chosen role. Marathon dance, marathon dance, marathon, marathon, marathon dance. Dance good folks till the end of it. Dance good fools to the end of you. You may remember those ones of old, they went on till they could not go, but is that not what the PDD wants, to milk you and milk you till the milk runs dry? Marathon dance, marathon dance, marathon, marathon, marathon dance. Dance good folks till the end of it. Dance good fools till the end of you. The light goes on, your clock keeps ticking, but the boss starts defying the strongest will. One falls, two falls, more falls still, and you then learn what marathon means. Marathon dance, marathon dance, marathon, marathon, marathon dance. Dance good folks till the end of it. Dance good fools till the end of you. Unless you're quite prepared to die, you must soul search and inquire of you. Is that all there is? Then no, it is not. Break away and a monkey wrench, not spade out. Marathon dance, marathon dance, marathon, marathon, marathon dance. Dance good folks till the end of it. Bust loose now, it's the start of you. Thank you, Nuts. Thank you, Nuts. We thank you for tormenting us, for calling us names, for harassing and profiling us, for assaulting us with your slaps, your fist, your weaponry, your spittle, and for shouting obscenities and slurs in our faces. We thank you for your collective punishment, for your destroying our property, our loved ones, our very own lives, and please accept our thanks to you for your attempts to destroy our self-esteem and pride. You've done us a tremendous service we shall not soon forget, and should you truly believe any of the above, then you, pseudo-sirs and madams, are truly no more than just another perpetrator. Thank you.
Thank you, Garrett Murphy.